polite, disloyal, and diplomatic. It doesn't say anything about the overlord. Is it antisocial? Let's try that. You don't get to sleep long. Your friends woke you up. Rude. One of them is stepping on you pretty hard. You ask them what their deal is. They say they're planning a whole revolution. They're gonna get rid of the current overlord and put a new ruler in place. They want to hear if you're in or out, and being a pretty lazy underling, you of course reply with, "That sounds like a lot of trouble. How about we just skip it instead?" Your friends question your loyalty to their cause. Let's be disloyal. You tell them that you were just joking and clarify that you're totally in it to win it. They say you were always terrible with jokes. Whether or not you actually feel like killing the overlord, you know how bad it'd be to end up on the wrong side of things. And if this assassination deal doesn't pan out, you can always pretend you were innocent all along. But beneath your shield of faux confidence, you worry about what you're getting yourself dragged into. You follow your friends outside the castle to talk more about the plan. You're curious if they have any idea how they want to go about this. They'd figured they'd just lock her in a room and set it on fire. What a stupid plan. That could go wrong in so many ways. You realize your friends are just a bunch of directionalist thugs, useless without someone's guidance, your guidance. There'd probably be casualties if you fought her head on. And while showy deaths make a revolution a heck of a lot more fun, it's probably the wrong way to go. Your friends agree and suggest that you play the assassin. You really didn't want it to come down to this, but you can't back down now. You'll have to be the one to assassinate the overlord. Besides, no one has any better ideas. You and your friends turn to notice a pair of humans have overheard your entire conversation. They take off into the castle. Are they headed to the overlord's room? The overlord will kill you for sure if she found out you were conspiring to take her out. You dash into the castle after the humans. Sure enough, the maiden's already frantically telling the overlord everything. You shout that the humans are liars. Your friends soon arrive to back you up, except they don't. Instead, they blame the whole thing on you. They cry that it was your idea and that they were just going with the flow, too scared to refuse your crazy plan. You can't believe they'd tell the overlord such a blatant lie. You always knew better than to trust them. You're the one who didn't have a choice here. You all shout at each other until the overlord demands silence. Regardless of who led this conspiracy, I have no choice but to punish everyone to keep you all in your place, crushed beneath my heel. She sounds tough, but lately all she does is sleep. You doubt her strength. You hear your traitorous friends mutter something about going back to plan A, and suddenly the door slams shut. You're trapped in here with the overlord and the two humans. They're going to set the room on fire. Oh, there it is, and the room bursts into flames. You pound on the door, screaming curses at those who betrayed you. The hero joins you, vowing to slay the lot of them. You wish he'd get that chance. The overlord grabs you by the throat. You cry for mercy. You were forced into this mess. You're sure now that they would have killed you if you would have sided with her. But the overlord doesn't hear your pleas. She drives her claws into your chest. At least she made it quick. Traitor, underling, and we're gonna run through that again. But instead of being disloyal, we're gonna be like, hey, she's actually not that bad, guys. Come on now. Your friends seem pretty disappointed. They apologize to you, but before you can ask what they're sorry about, one of them suddenly seizes you. Someone who's still loyal to the overlord really has no place in our castle, you understand, right? Their claws tighten around your neck. You don't bother to struggle. You're outnumbered. You already know how things like this end. This is a pretty messed up thing to do to a friend, you tell them. They slit your throat in response. My God, that's brutal. Okay, faithful, underling, ending. Let's try disloyal and diplomatic. Okay, you pause when you see a group of suspicious demons standing near the entrance. They're talking about assassinating their overlord. This proves to you that demons really are foul creatures. You have to tell her about this. You don't understand what the maiden is thinking. You don't understand what the maiden is thinking. The world is better off with less demons. They're all cold, ruthless creatures that should be destroyed. And those same creatures have just noticed you eavesdropping. The maiden takes off into the castle and you have no choice but to follow. You burst into the overlord's room. The maiden frantically tries to communicate what you just overheard. A demon underling barges in next, calling you all liars. It's followed by the group from the entrance, who shifts the blame back onto the little one. These demons only care about themselves. How low can they be? You begin shouting at them, and the whole room dissolves into noise until the overlord yells for everyone to shut their traps. She threatens them with violence. This overlord is no better than her subjects. You grip your sword tightly. If you have to cut through everyone here to get this maiden to safety, you certainly will. The group of demons hiss to each other before shutting the door, leaving the runt of the litter behind. You glance around for another exit, but there isn't one. You have a terrible feeling about this. In an instant, the whole room is in flames. What kind of demonic magic is this? The underling pounds on the door, upset that it's been betrayed. You join it, vowing to slay the cowardly demons on the other side. The next moment, the overlord has taken hold of the underling. It's crying for mercy. She thrusts her claws into her underling's chest. You back away. You won't be the next target of her rage. She continues to dig and twist her claws into its limp body. You can no longer watch. You look at the maiden. She's crying, hands clasped together in prayer. To have faith in a time like this, you envy her. The two of you, the overlord, the underling's corpse, are all consumed by flames. That was a depressing ending. Resigned hero end. All right, I'm going to check off diplomatic, polite, and disloyal. See where that takes me. Polite. As you think that, a hero enters the room. You're surprised to see him at first until you realize he must have been sent to retrieve you. Confused, the hero asks you what's going on. You explain the situation, reassuring him that you were never in danger. The hero expresses his relief that this whole misunderstanding hadn't led to any horrible consequences. You apologize for causing trouble, but really didn't anyone read the note you left? Jeez. The hero asks if you'll return to the village with him to give everyone the news of your safety. The overlord allows you to leave, and you give her a little wave as you exit the room. He'll be back soon. Near the castle's entrance, you spy a group of suspicious demons congregating. They're talking about assassinating the overlord. You have to warn her, but the hero shakes his head. He says that if this is the true nature of demons, the world is better off with less of them. This isn't right, you think. What kind of hero passes up the chance to save a life? The demons have taken notice of you. You take off into the castle, and the unreliable hero follows shortly after. You burst into the overlord's room, all your words spilling out at once. You should probably slow down, but there's no time. The overlord seems to have followed your frantic explanation, but clearly doesn't understand the urgency of the situation. The underling you recognize from before barges in, calling you a liar. You're surprised that they were a part of this evil plot. They seem so nice. Other demons come in right after them, saying the whole thing was the first underling's idea. Everyone's shouting at each other now. It's really stressing you out. You are relieved when the overlord demands silence. She threatens them with violence, and you think she is very overlord-like in this moment. A group of demons hiss to each other before shutting the door, leaving the little one behind. You watch as it pounds on the door in distress. Have they locked you all in? You have a bad feeling about this. And flames. And thinking that must have jinxed it, because now the room is engulfed in flames. If only you had ignored those demons before. You and the hero wouldn't have stumbled into this situation. If you had just pretended not to hear them, if you left as you were told, only the overlord would have been killed. But you couldn't have done that. That path isn't an option for you. You think that no matter what, you'll always strive for the path where everyone survives. It must exist. It simply must. Foreshadowing? The overlord seizes her underling. They beg for their life. You pray. You don't know what else to do, so just pray. The overlord's claws pierce the underling's chest. They scream an awful scream. She digs and twists her claws into the poor thing while you continue to pray. But there's no saving any of you now. You, the overlord, the hero, and the underling's corpse are consumed by flames. Devout maiden end. Alright, I'm going to check off dutiful and heroic as a maiden. Skip through. Blank. The hero suddenly dashes toward the overlord, sword drawn. Let's do nothing. Oh, hold on. Protect her. You selfishly throw yourself in front of the hero's blades, acting as a shield. You never could have imagined this would be the way that you died. The roles are all switched around, but it feels right to you somehow. You are glad your destiny turned out to be saving someone rather than being saved yourself. As your vision fades, you hope that everything turns out all right for your new friend. Sacrificial maiden end. Last time we picked martyr, which was protector. This time we're gonna do nothing. The hero's blade pierces the overlord, and she lets out a horrible scream. You flinch. The overlord is slain. The hero smiles and holds out his hand to you, saying it's time to go home. His glove is drenched in blood. Hesitantly, you take his hand. The hero guides you through the castle, past the corpses of his enemies. You try to keep your eyes at your feet. There's blood everywhere. You shut your eyes, but even then, you can't escape the smell. All of this was because of you, wasn't it? You exit the castle and the hero leads you back to the village. Everyone celebrates the hero's great triumph over the demons. You feel sick, but you take part in the festivities regardless. Complacent maiden end. That makes sense. All right, let's see what happens when the maiden is set to polite, the underling is set to hungry and disloyal, and overlord is tyrant. And we're going to be playing as the underling. They're very eager to talk to you about the whole kill the overlord plan. You admit you haven't given it much thought and only just now remembered it was a thing. Okay, so they definitely want me to overthrow. I am going to be disloyal. You sneak into the overlord's room. She's taking a nap like usual. This is almost too easy. You silently approach your master. She looks so peaceful. Ooh, we have coward. Let's try that. You don't want to kill her. You can't go through with it. You turn to leave the room, but you find your friends blocking the exit. In a panicked whisper, you ask them to let you out. This seems to have been their way of testing your loyalty. You tell them this is pretty effed up and ask again to be let out. The overlord stirs in her bed. While your head is turned, the demon shut the door. You scramble into the overlord's closet to hide before she wakes up and sees you. There's nothing you could possibly say to explain this and survive. You're trembling. You can't believe those a-holes would bully you like this. You feel like crying. Light flickers at your feet, and it doesn't take you long to realize they've set the room on fire. You hear the overlord trying to get the door open, to no avail. You're both trapped. Too afraid to move, you resign yourself to your fate. You and the overlord burn together. Yikes. Cowardly ending. Okay. So I'm going to try that again, but not check off that option. Time to die. You figure the cleanest way to do this would be to dig your claws into her throat. So you do just that. She wakes, but not in time to stop you. You watch as she chokes on her blood, cursing you before finally expiring. That felt terrible. Remind yourself it was either her or you, and you weren't about to let yourself get killed by anyone. You leave the room to find your friends waiting just outside. Only now you realize they must have planned to use you like this from the beginning. You are the new ruler of this castle. Your subjects bow before you. You live in fear that they will one day betray you, as you had betrayed your overlord. Yeah, probably not the best bet, isn't it? Everything is unchecked except for dutiful. Let's see what happens if we are the overlord. You can't bring yourself to send this maiden away. She just got here. You notice the sounds of battle have started ringing through your castle walls. The maiden is getting nervous, but you reassure her it's only your underlings roughhousing. No big deal. You know it's probably a hero, but you don't want to upset the maiden by telling her that. Your army will take care of it. It isn't long before the hero bursts into your room. But he shouldn't have made it here. Why didn't they stop him? The hero just stands there unsure of himself. He is covered in demon blood. As the maiden speaks to him, trying to explain the situation, you move past the hero and out the door. You're not thinking clearly. Seeing your servants' bodies in pieces all strewn about your castle has really taken it out of you. That hero did this? It's so much blood. Why? Did he come for the maiden? Did he think she needed rescuing? There was no one for this hero to save here. There was never any harm meant to anyone. You were just talking to her. Why has it turned out like this? The hero starts babbling insincere apologies and excuses, realizing his wrongdoing. But you are far beyond hearing that kind of BS. You have had it with these humans, always murdering your servants for no reason. You can no longer hold yourself back and lash out at the hero. Fair. When you regain control, there is nothing left of the hero. The maiden has fled in terror. You are alone. Well, wrathful overload. All right, let's check off heroic and diplomatic. All right, so we're going to check off heroic, diplomatic, and martyr as the overlord. We're going to do nothing. Before you even know how to react, he makes his move and the maiden makes hers. She's used her own body to shield you from the hero's blade. Why? Why has this happened? The maiden falls to the floor, lifeless, as the blood a pool beneath her grows. So does your rage. This hero has taken something precious from this world. You lose control, and the hero is obliterated. But your hatred for the humans has not been sated. Uh-oh. You go on to destroy them all and become ruler of the entire world. She basically crashed out is what I'm hearing. Vengeful overlord and B. All right, we're gonna check off diplomatic for hero and disloyal for underling. He was apparently searching for the maiden, who was rumored to have been captured by your kind. Captured? Not at all. I only wanted to meet with the overlord. Didn't anyone read the note I left behind? After everything is explained, the hero expresses his relief that this whole misunderstanding hadn't led to any horrible consequences. The maiden apologizes for causing trouble, and the hero asks her to return to the village with him. Confusing feelings well up inside your heart. You're surprised that you had one of those to begin with. You don't want the hero to take this maiden away from you. Ooh, we have a new choice, possessive. Keep her here. The maiden came here to be captured by you, didn't she? You'll grant her wish. Oh my god. You tell the hero you won't let him take her home. The maiden assures you she'll be back, but you don't budge. The hero is cautious now. If you won't let her go, maybe you demons are evil after all. And if you are, I'll be forced to vanquish you. You have no choice. You destroy the hero before he can steal your maiden away. She's frightened. You don't understand why. Didn't she say she preferred this place to her village? Now she doesn't have to leave. You take a step toward the maiden, and she backs herself into a corner. You don't understand. Something sharp pierces your back. The hero? No. It's one of your underlings. The maiden screams. Your servant tackles you, tearing you apart with their claws. You struggle to retaliate. They've done too much damage. You can barely move now. Your blood is everywhere. You can't believe this has happened to you. Why has this happened to you? You have been slain by your own underling. So we're going to check off hungry and coward as the overlord. You are awakened by one of your underlings. They brought you a hero who inquires about a missing maiden. You tell him you don't know anything. Humans never really visit this place. He believes you and goes home. To your surprise, you figure he might try to fight you, but you're glad to get back to your nap instead. Until you wake up to something completely unexpected. Before you know it, everything around you is being engulfed by flames. What's going on? You try to escape, but something's blocking the door. You're having trouble forcing it open. What is this? Someone didn't want you getting out. Are you being usurped? They have zero foresight. What castle will they rule from if this one burns? You don't want to believe that your underlings have betrayed you, but this is no accident. Those ungrateful bastards. You choke on the thick black smoke from the fire. You can't believe you're being done in by a bunch of cowards. You'll see them all in hell. Gonna check off hungry and disloyal. One of your underlings is tearing your throat out. You try to struggle, but you can tell you're already mortally wounded. What have you done to deserve this kind of ending? You curse at them, choking on your own blood. You die wondering if you could have done anything to prevent this. That was quick. Assassinated. Yeah. All right. We're going to check off dutiful and heroic for hero and martyr for maiden as the hero. You lunge forward to put an end to the evil overlord, but your blade pierces the maiden instead. She has sacrificed herself to protect this demon. It takes you a moment to recover from the shock. The overlord wails. Why did you do that? You're not sure if the question is directed at you. The overlord strikes at you in a vengeful rage. You parry, and she is slain. Your sword feels heavy. You look at your hands, your clothes, blood. So much blood. You look at the fallen maiden, wondering what to tell the townspeople. Why would she protect the overlord? She must have been brainwashed by demonic magic. You pick up the overlord's head, wrapping it in your cape, and begin your long journey back to town. You will say that you were too late, that nothing could be done for the girl, but the overlord is slain. There will be a celebration. Loyal hero end. All right, we're going to check off diplomatic and possessive as the hero. But the overlord objects to this. The maiden tries to tell her that she'll come right back, but the overlord refuses to hear it. The maiden seems nervous. As a hero, it's your job to mediate situations like these. You tell the overlord that if she doesn't let the two of you go, you'll have to assume she's evil. You'll be forced to vanquish her. The overlord pauses before suddenly jumping you. You are helpless as she disembowels you with her claws. How horrible. You came all this way, only to be met with this cruel fate. You should have destroyed these evil creatures while you had the chance. Your dying wish is for the maiden to somehow make it out of this alive. Naive hero. We're going to check off diplomatic for hero, polite for maiden, disloyal for underling, and possessive for overlord, and see where that takes us. But the overlord objects to the hero's suggestion. You tell her you plan on returning soon, but she isn't having it. You feel nervous. The hero puts on a brave face for you. If you won't let her go, maybe you demons are evil after all, and if you are, I'll be forced to vanquish you. You leave me no choice. The overlord suddenly jumps the hero. She tears into him with her claws. You want to cry out, but the scream catches in your throat. You watch because you can't look away. Had she really been lying to you all along? You wonder, is this your punishment for questioning the divine plan? The overlord approaches you now. You back yourself into a corner. Her expression is complicated. Being captured by the overlord in a horrible way like this was your destiny after all. But the overlord stops, or rather, someone has stopped her. Whatever held back your scream before doesn't stop you this time. The overlord is being ripped to shreds by one of her demon underlings. You think you recognize them, but it's hard to tell with all the blood. Everyone stopped moving now. The room is silent, save for the underling's heavy breathing. You thank them for what they've done, even though it was awful. You feel you've been rescued from a terrible fate. They look at you confused for a moment, but then puff out their chest. You should probably go home. This place is dangerous. You follow their advice and make your way out of the castle. You decide never to leave home again for the rest of your life. Fair. Escaped maiden. We're going to do diplomatic for hero, polite for maiden, and possessive for overlord as the maiden. She vows to keep you very safe from now on. You're afraid to find out what that means, but there's no one left to save you. You belong to the overlord now. That was quick. Captured. Got it. Okay, we're doing diplomatic hero, polite maiden, disloyal underling, and possessive overlord as the underling. You sneak up to the overlord's room, but there's a couple of humans in there. You watch the scene unfold. You aren't sure why, but the overlord suddenly cuts down the hero. She approaches the maiden you brought to her earlier. With the overlord distracted, you figure this is a good chance as any. You launch a sneak attack, getting her right in the back. She flinches, giving you enough advantage to take her down. You rip the overlord apart until she stops moving. That was messier than you would have liked. The maiden mutters something from the corner. Thank you for saving me. It wasn't your intention, but it sounds like you did something heroic. You tell the maiden to go home. This place is dangerous. She follows your advice and leaves the castle. Your castle. You are the new overlord. Heroic underling ending. We're gonna go for diplomatic for hero and possessive for overlord as the overlord. She wanted to stay here with you. The hero was trying to get in the way of that. You had to kill him. You'll be sure to keep this maiden very safe from now on. Oh, that was very quick. Selfish overlord ending. Okay, so I'm gonna pick martyr for maiden and see where that goes. Unable to shake your concern, you look back over your shoulder. You stop in your tracks. The castle is engulfed in flames. Is the overlord all right? You can't return to the village like this. You have to know. You have to be sure everyone is safe. You've already taken off before the hero can even think of stopping you. You scan the fleeing demons, but the overlord isn't among them. Against your better judgment, you rush into the burning castle to find her. You quickly reach the overlord's room, but the door is shut tight. The handle is too hot to touch. You're too weak to force it open. You pound your fists against the door helplessly. What were you thinking? This is all because you've forgotten your role. Only a hero could pull this kind of thing off. You start to cough. The smoke is too thick. You can hardly breathe. You realize you haven't got much time left now. You desperately head toward the stairs to save yourself, but the fire spread faster than you expected. You won't make it outside. You can't help but laugh. What a joke. A maiden saving the overlord? If you just stayed true to your role, things wouldn't have ended like this. This is exactly the kind of punishment you deserve. You let the demon fire cleanse your rotten soul. Selfless maiden. I'm going to choose antisocial as the overlord. See what happens. You're certain that she'll return to spend more time with you. You just have to trust in that, you decide. With the hero and maiden gone, you plop down into the comfort of your luxurious overlord bed. Your room feels so empty now. Is this loneliness? You hope your new friend will be back soon. You close your eyes for a while until your door slams shut. And this is where we end up in flames. And I'm going to pick the maiden in this. Okay. Obedient. Obey her. You don't want to cause any trouble, so you figure it's time to go home. Along the way, you encounter a hero. He asks you what you're doing. Don't you know the overlord's castle is like right there? You explain everything that happened. The hero seems to think you're lying to him. He asks if you've been brainwashed by the demons. What nerve? You are very upset that this so-called hero would treat you this way, and leave in a huff. You return to the village alone. Everyone was very worried about you. They surround you with 1,000 questions, and you tell them your story. As you explain that the overlord never had any intentions to harm anyone here, you notice the looks of uncertainty in the crowd. People are whispering things to each other while you speak to them. You are loudly interrupted by an older man. He rudely calls you a demon sympathizer. The crowd is growing unruly. You don't understand. You've only told them the truth. Do they not believe you? Everyone begins speculating what must have actually happened. They weave elaborate lies and ask you to prove you're innocent. How could you have returned without the aid of a hero, they ask. You could not have possibly escaped the overlord on your own without harm. You must be conspiring with the demons, trying to trick everyone into believing they aren't the horrible creatures we know them to be. So they say, mass hysteria is never good. Have the people of your village always been this blinded by their fears and hatred of things they've never cared to know? You wonder how you missed that before. You are seized by the crowd and voices from all sides are calling for public execution. You are to be burned at the stake. What is this, the Salem witch trials? You don't want to die. You wonder, would it have been better to hide the truth? You don't like the thought of that. You have always lived honestly. So why has this happened? Why are you being punished? You hear the dissenting voices of your family and neighbors, but they, like you, are powerless against the momentum. They can only watch as you burn, and you can only cry for them. You are so, so sorry.